Hello and welcome to Joline Knits a Lot. This is my show about knitting and occasionally other things that I've been getting up to. How are you? It is mid-March and I honestly have no idea where time is going right now. It just seems to be flying by. And here we are in the middle of March. Finally in Edmonton, we're starting to get some warmer weathers that are above zero, which means our snow is starting to melt. And that feels really good, but my dog gets very dirty when he goes outside, and that's a little bit problematic, but that's life, I guess. How are you? How have you been? The last couple of weeks continue to be stressful and difficult, particularly with war in Ukraine that is ongoing, and seeing the struggles that these people are going through as they leave everything behind or stay and fight for their country. It's an impossible situation, and it's impossible for me to understand what they're going through. But I have, as I mentioned in previous episodes, made some donations where I can, and I've also supported crafters where I can who are using their crafting and their handmaking to support particularly Red Cross, but other organizations that are helping people in need right now. And I know that you knitters who are watching this and other crafters are probably doing the same. There are many, countless creators who are either selling their pieces, their work, in the hopes of raising money to support Red Cross or other organizations in Ukraine. There are organizations like Line Magazine who have developed Knitters for Ukraine, who are collecting funds to donate for similar causes. And it's just amazing what our community can do when we come together. And so I just want to let you know that that's one of my favorite parts of this community, is the fact that knitters, crafters, creators tend to be the kind of people who want to help. And so thank you. Thank you for stepping up when you need to step up to support the causes and the charities and the people who need you and who are part of your community. Speaking of community, this little community has been growing lately with which is always surprising to me. I'm always delighted when new people subscribe to my channel or find me or watch my videos. So thank you for joining me here today. And I wanted to tell you about a little milestone we've hit. In the last couple of weeks, my little channel has surpassed 300 subscribers, and that it really means a lot to me. My little channel is just that. It's my little channel. It's not commercial. It's not a high-end channel. But I'm always so appreciative when people come and join me here. And so, as a way to celebrate 300 subscribers, I dove into my stash and I found a skein of self-striping yarn that I would like to offer as a giveaway for this exciting event. So in order to be in with a chance to win this prize, I just want you to comment in the show notes below and let me know, what do I want to know? I guess I would like to know what your favorite things to knit are. Around here you see me knit a lot of socks and a lot of sweaters, and sometimes little projects here and there, but what's your go-to project? What is the first thing that you like to cast on when you have space in your time, or free needles. What do you like to knit or craft or create? I will be drawing from the people who comment on this episode in 2 weeks from today. So I'm recording this episode on Friday, April 18th. So 2 weeks from today, which I think is something like April 1st or 2nd. First, possibly? Anyway, on that day, I will be drawing a name to win this prize. This is a skein of self-striping sock yarn. It is dyed by a Canadian dyer called Biscot Yarns. They do great self-striping yarns, and they are located, I believe, in Quebec. Yes, in Saint Bruno, Quebec, in Canada. This beautiful skein of yarn is 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. It's kind of a bouncy, nice, plump self-striping yarn. And this colorway is called Flatiron Building, and it was dyed for River City Yarns as a way to sort of commemorate this building in Edmonton, Alberta, where I'm from. It is our very own version of the Flatiron Building. Perhaps not as grand as the one in New York, but it is ours. And the note on the skein says, "This historic Edmonton landmark inspired River City Yarns collaboration with Biscot Yarns for Flatiron, the yarn color of the same name. This special colorway was designed to celebrate Edmonton Fiber Frolic 2018, which I attended, and I purchased this yarn. So I would like to share it with you. I'll give you, I think I have, here's a little picture of how the yarn knits up when it's all stripy. So it is red, white, and blue, but it's also a nod to a building that is from where I'm from, and I'd like to share that with you. As I said, comment below with a chance to win, and I'll be drawing in 2 weeks, and I'll announce the winner on my next episode. So thank you for joining me and being a part of my community. I really, really am happy that you're here. And in other news, in the last couple weeks, I finished a sweater project. I'm wearing it. It's my Tsubaki Pullover. Can you see it? I'm going to insert some pictures here. This sweater was an amazing knit. I loved it. I love knitting it because it was a really, really interesting construction. It's got these great saddle shoulders. It's knit top down, and it's completely seamless. And when I say seamless, I mean like the construction is crazy interesting. You knit, you cast on at the neckline, you knit these saddle shoulders and the front and back pieces all in one. And when you get to the armpits, you leave the body stitches and one sleeve on a needle, and you just knit back and forth for one of the sleeves. I'm drinking a coffee and talking to you today, so I'm all about multitasking. So you knit back and forth on the sleeve, for example, this sleeve, and when you get to the end, you do some ribbing, simple ribbing, nothing too fancy. And then you pick up stitches all along each side, and you do what the designer calls a zipper seam. Now, I don't know if you can see the detail on that. Oh, this is terrible. My face is in the way. And you get this really, really interesting zipper seam. It's a really kind of interesting design feature. It's tucked underneath your arms. So if you're not a fan, you're not seeing much of it, but it's a really, really beautiful stretchy seam. It feels like sleeves that you knit in the round from the top down or bottom up. So it doesn't pull at all. And then when you get up to here again, you just pick up some stitches, knit around to the other sleeve, and do the exact same thing. So you knit that back and forth down, you knit some ribbing, and then you do this really cool zipper seam. The instructions are wonderful. She shows you exactly where to pick up the loops on your yarn, exactly how to do it. I believe there are even videos on how to complete this, which is that was the only new to me sort of technique in this whole sweater. And then you just keep knitting down to the bottom some ribbing and you're done. I love it. And I'm happy to say that in this project, the marriage of the yarn and the pattern is perfect. I just love it. And it is exactly what I wanted it to be. A soft, cozy, but lightweight and drapey sweater. I use the Walcott Opus yarns, which I have to thank the, I have to thank the ladies at, well, they're not all ladies, but it was the owners when I went to the Fiber Nook who suggested this yarn because I said I was looking for something in a sport weight. And they said, well, the Walcott Opus is in. So I went right over there to check it out. And it's this yarn. It's beautiful. I am interested to see how it will wear because I think it may pill a little bit. It does have some alpaca in it and merino, but it is so soft and drapey. And when I put it on today to film this episode, I just was so happy with it. I'm just really delighted with it. And I really think it's going to be something I wear a lot. So I would encourage you to check out the yarn and check out the pattern. And if you're really, really keen, put them both together. There's a lot of colors available in the Walcott Opus. I did purchase mine at the Fiber Nook here in Edmonton. It's available in multiple places. And I used maybe 3 1/3 skeins for my size. It was pretty good. I had bought 4 skeins, so I still have quite a bit left. I'm not sure what I'll do with it. It may become a hat, maybe. We'll see. But I'm just really happy with it. It's the Tsubaki Pullover. Today I'm enjoying a latte out of my Shirley's Artistry & Co. mug. I got this mug at an Edmonton Fiber Frolic. No, I didn't get it at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. I got it at the Prairie Fiber Festival a couple of years ago. But Shirley will be at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic, which is coming up May 28th. And it looks to be like a return to former Edmonton Fiber Frolics. A friend and I attended the event that was held in November. And it was really nice to be out because that was my first yarny event since COVID, really. And it was small, but there was a lot of really talented crafters there, including Shirley. And I did get some beautiful ginger snaps yarn, which I'm a fan of too. But this event looks to be a little bit bigger with more vendors. And I think the possibility of some classes too. So I'm excited. In the last couple weeks, I believe I told you on my previous episode, but my husband and I have bought a new house and we're going to be moving. We take possession of the new house in 1 week from today, but there's some work that needs to be done on it. So we're not actually going to be moving for a couple months, but in preparation for that, I have been going through my house and getting rid of like repurposing, recycling, and rehoming a lot of things that I have too much of, I'll be honest with you. And some happy recipients or lucky recipients, I hope they're happy, received some yarn from my stash that I just didn't feel like I was going to be using, but I thought maybe they would. Also my niece and nephew, who are of an age, they're about to be moving out and finding their own places, were the lucky beneficiaries of my excessive pot and corningware collection. So those all went to good homes, which I'm really grateful for. And I'm trying to be very sort of specific in how I buy things, whether that's groceries or whether that's yarn or whether that's possibly new furniture for our new house. Not that we need a lot, but things here and there. I just want to be more purposeful and less impulsive. Do you ever get that? Do you ever feel like you need to sort of start fresh and clean the slates? That's where I'm at right now. So having finished this sweater, I have a couple more things that I finished in the last couple weeks, and these really should go out because they're gifts. They're gifts for my youngest daughter's soccer coaches, who have been wonderful, just wonderful coaches and just great people for my daughter's soccer team. Now, she's been playing soccer since she was about 4. Both my daughters played soccer from an early age and loved it. Lily's been lucky to be associated with this team and these 2 coaches who are fathers. They have daughters on the team. They're really supportive. They're really great coaches. The way that they coach is very positive. They're competitive. They want to win, but they also want the girls to learn the game and how to play it. And Lily has learned so much from these coaches, and they've just made soccer a really important and fun part of her life. So I made both of these coaches a pair of socks. These socks were both cranked on my 3D printed sock machine. The first pair is these. Both of these pairs of socks are from yarn dyed by Area 51 Yarns, which is a self-stripping dyer out of Saskatchewan, which is a province to the east of Alberta, where I'm from. And she does some great TV, movie, book inspired colorways. This one is called Tsubaki Frap. So there's some self-striping yarns based on Chewbacca. And I did some contrast heels and toes. I used West Yorkshire spinners in the milk bottle colorway, which I think works pretty well. And then I inserted some bullseye heels using the same yarn that the tube was cranked out of. So when the heel is worn, it kind of looks like a bullseye on the heel. So that is for one of the coaches. This was cranked on my 76 stitch tube, I guess, cylinder. So that's one. And then this second pair of socks was same yarn, same sock machine. The colorway is called Leia, so it's named after Princess Leia, but I think that it's still gender neutral. So I just had cranked the tubes, and then I went back in and inserted some cuffs. This time I used the Sheepy's Metropolis in the Warsaw colorway, a personal favorite. I did the same thing for toes. And again, I did a couple of bullseye heels. The heel pattern that I use for my Afterthought heels is the Smooth Operator. Sorry, it took me a minute. Smooth Operator sock pattern by Susan B. Anderson. It is a great introduction to Afterthought heels if you are new to that technique. There's lots of videos online as well. I really like the one by Stranded Dye Works. Jude does a great job of making Afterthought heel very understandable, particularly from a sock tube. But I do also like Susan B. Anderson's pattern for some of the techniques that she adds for creating depth in the heel, if you, like me, have sort of a high instep. But there's lots of techniques and tutorials available. And I know that I was talking about doing a demonstration of how I do my heels, and I will do that in the future. It's just going to take me a little time because I need to move and get settled and that sort of thing. So yeah, if you're interested right now in finding out how to do that, I would definitely recommend the Stranded Dye Works tutorial online, or check out Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator socks. Both very useful and accessible ways of understanding how to do that technique. And don't be afraid of cutting your knitting. The first time you do it, it is a little freaky, but you'll be fine, I promise. So those are all the finished objects I have off my needles right now. I have 2 things that I have cast on. I'll show you the smaller thing first. My oldest daughter is a dancer, and I think I've told you that before. Now, a lot of the girls she dances with have become fans of my socks. And I don't mean to brag, but my socks are in high demand, which is actually not a bad thing, because I have a box full of socks that I have knit over the years, and they're just I had a drawer full, and so I just put them away for when I wore through a pair or whatever. So the girls that my daughter dances with have been the lucky recipients of some hand knit socks over the past couple months. They've really been sort of asking for them, which is, I think, adorable. Anyway, I know a couple more pairs are going out the door this weekend for some dancers who are lovely, lovely girls, and I'm happy that they will be able to wear these socks. Anyway, my daughter likes a certain pair of socks that I made for her years ago, and they're shorty socks, and she just likes the way that they fit her foot. So she's been asking me for socks just like those for quite some time, and I have been sort of humming and hawing about, or dragging my heels about making them, I guess. But I have finally cast on a pair of shorty socks for her. I had in the great stash down of 2022, as I was going through all the yarn that I had and had for years, and was either rehoming it, or I have a bag that's going to go to their former elementary school to be used in art projects and what have you. I found this skein of yarn. It is old. So I dug out this yarn, I put it aside, and I thought, while I'm parted from my stash until we settle into our new home, I can work on some socks. So the other day I cast on a pair of socks for my eldest, and there's not much to report. I do like knitting my socks on DPNs. Whoa, the focus on this is kind of wacky. The stitch definition of this yarn is really lovely, and I've just started the heel flap and gusset. So I'm doing 2 inches from the cast on to the heel flap, and then I'll make my heel flap and work the rest of the sock. I make socks for myself as well as my daughters on 64 stitches, and I use 2.25 millimeter needles. And so I just have a little bit of progress on these socks, but I know that I will have lots of sock yarn left over once I finish this pair. And so I will be making at least one more pair for another dancer, whoever would like them. I'm really delighted to have some people who are appreciative of the socks and enjoy wearing them. And to see a group of like 16, 18 girls all wearing crazy stripy socks is really fun. So the next project I have on my needles is a sweater for my sister. My sister is 8 years younger than me, and while I am quite dark and with dark eyes, she is more fair. Her hair is blonde, although I think a little darker now, and her eyes are a bluey green. And so we tend to gravitate towards different colors that we wear, and that makes sense, just given our coloring. So I have started a striped sweater for her, and let me show you how far I've gone. I, again, am using Farmer's Daughter yarn, Recollect, which is her Rambouillet Sport Base. And again, I cannot recommend it enough. It is just so lovely to work with. It is soft. I've been wearing my striped sweater, and it's really, really nice to wear. I'm also using the Odang, which is her Sri Alpaca Silk blend. And one of the colors I'm using is leftovers from my sweater. So let me just show you where I'm at. Her palette is more of a sort of green, greeny based with some cooler colors too. Again, it's different from mine, but that's okay. I'm knitting her the same size. I think that should be fine. It may be a little bit bigger on her, and that's okay. This Desert Rose I used in my sweater, and let me see if I can remember the colors. This is Pine Drop. I had 2 skeins of Pine Drop from different sort of dye lots, and it's hand dyeing, so they are quite different. One Pine Drop is quite a bit lighter than the other one, and so I've just decided to use them both as different colored stripes. So this is the lighter Pine Drop, this first stripe, the ribbing. And then I have Ranch Romance. This is Eagle Eye. This is the Odang in Desert Rose. This navy color is called I've Got Dreams to Remember. And then this natural color I actually used in my husband's Hide and Peak sweater. I had lots left over, and so that's getting repurposed into this sweater. This one, this sort of mauvey color is called J. Rankin. And then this one is the, oh no, I lied. This is the dark pine drop, the first one. And this one is the lighter pine drop. And then I have another Odang colorway in Whiskey Butte. This is a color I used in the sweater I made myself called Vintage Roses. It was a pattern I wrote myself. I'll pop a picture here, and this is sort of the background color on the colorwork. And then back to the dark pine drop. This sweater is going along incredibly quickly. I started it maybe just over a week ago. And so it's going very quickly. And I'm going to knit the body this time because for her, I think it's going to be important to get the length in the body. And then if the sleeves are shorter, that will be fine for her. She tends to run hot. And so she likes lighter layers and things that she can layer over things, or shorter sleeves, that sort of thing. And so even if I just do short sleeves after this little stripe, that will be okay. And if I have enough to do some 3/4 length sleeves, I'll wait and see how that goes. But yeah, it's going along really quickly. I'm using the same modification I did for my own stripes pullover, and that was I knit the 46-inch bust measurement, because the size that I wanted was sort of in between the sizes available. The sizes offered were 40 inches or 46 inches, and that was a really big gap. And I wanted something sort of in the middle. So I followed the suggestions of another very clever Ravelry, and I knit the larger size for the yoke. And then when I got to the sleeve portion, where I set the sleeves on hold and had to cast on new stitches in the armpit, I cast on fewer stitches than were required. So I think for my size, the number of stitches suggested to cast on was 16, and I cast on 8. So there still had plenty of room in the sleeve. That wasn't an issue. And I lost then about 3 inches total on the whole circumference of the body, and that was perfect for me. The sweater that I'm left with is just what I wanted, and the sleeves are a good size. I just picked up the sleeve stitches that were on hold, and then picked up I think 10 across my cast on, and then simply decreased down to the required number of stitches for the sleeve, and then I just knit straight until it was the right length. And that worked really, really well for my first sweater. And so I'm doing that one again for this one with much more confidence, because I know it worked so well the first time. Do you often make recommendations? Do you make recommendations? Do you make adjustments to your knitting patterns on a regular basis? Is that something that you're comfortable with? I do. I have to, because I have short arms. As I have complained about in the past. But there's always, I mean, not always, but often I find that I have to make a little adjustment for my size or the length that I want, or maybe just the fit that I want. I know everybody is different, and that confidence to change your project from the pattern suggestions comes with experience, I think. The more you knit, and the more comfortable you are with knitting sweaters or different objects, you can become more confident to make those adjustments for yourself. And I would encourage you to give it a try, because what's the worst that could happen? You have to rip it out? It's knitting. You get to knit some more, and that's not so bad. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me and my latte that's probably now cold. I do appreciate you and the time you spend here and the comments that you leave. It means a lot to me. So don't forget to leave a comment in the show notes below to have an opportunity to win that skein of self-striping yarn, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. I hope that over the next little while you have time to do the things that make you feel good, that fill your cup. whether that's knitting, crafting, spending time with loved ones. I know I plan on knitting a lot. See you soon. Bye-bye.